color with an odd set of polysemantic symbolism in Western culture. It is the color of life, of luck, the color of creativity, of nature, and health. But it is also the color of illness and death, used to symbolize wickedness and insidious cunning. Today we call certain shades acid green or poison green. But what is the reason for this dichotomy? Prior to the use of mordant, green was a tricky color to achieve with plant-based dyes. The greens will often be dim or pale, or easily skew to teal. But one day in Victorian France, Empress Eugenie visited the opera in a strikingly vivid green dress. The French, always riding the cutting edge of European fashion, went mad for the color, and soon it was everywhere. Expensive suits and dresses, silk flowers, wallpaper, food dyes, even children's toys were painted with it. Trouble is, the color was produced by mixing arsenic with copper. Arsenic is highly toxic, with just 1/8 of a teaspoon constituting a lethal dose. The Victorians weren't exactly known for avoiding poisonous substances, so even though they knew arsenic was fatal to ingest, they felt reasonably safe handling it. Gallons of it, with their bare hands. Now, the expensive dresses made with this Paris green dye had a low level of toxicity after the dyeing was complete. And Victorians wore so many layers beneath their clothing to shield the dresses from sweat that they hardly touched the fabric they wore. But you know who did have to handle it? The factory workers, many of them small children, the seamstresses and tailors, the laundresses, those who dyed the fabric, dusted the florals, painted the wallpaper. It's really an interesting look at class relations. The pernicious luxury of wearing clothing at the cost of chemicals literally eating alive the people beneath you. Stories of factory workers falling ill were rampant, but largely ignored. Symptoms ranged from poor appetites, constant headaches, and anemic pallor, to ulcerations on their exposed skin and crater-like scars. After research about the health of artificial flower makers was published, France and Germany passed laws to restrict the production of Paris green. But yet, England persisted. Even when, only a few years later, the death of a 19-year-old named Matilda Schurer was widely publicized. She worked dusting artificial leaves with green powder to make them appear more lifelike. Autopsy confirmed that the inhaled arsenic had reached her lungs, liver, and stomach. According to contemporary testimonials, she convulsed and vomited green waters. The whites of her eyes had gone green, and she told her doctor that everything she saw was green. The story was horrible and sensational, and it did begin to sway public opinion about the shade, but not enough to curb demand. When asked about the toxic green, one society woman laughed it off. "We've been counseled not to lick our dresses," she said, which is just an incredible statement and such an entitled perspective, completely missing the point. But we aren't much better now. Most of the articles I found on this subject were labeled things like, "Killer clothing was all the rage in the 19th century," or "These dresses could and literally did kill," and the best, Paris green, the trendy color that killed many in Victorian society. But if you read the URL, this article was originally titled, "The trendy but toxic shade of green that left thousands dead in the Victorian era." I think I spy a retraction. But the point is, even today people are spreading the myth that the dresses killed, as if fancy ladies were dropping like flies, when the reality is that the dresses only ever posed a significant threat to the poor. The upper class eventually did begin to feel the effects, not due to the clothing, but the wallpaper. When arsenic-painted wallpaper becomes damp, it was capable of releasing an arsine gas into the air. Children sickened. One family, the Turners, losing 4 children to a mysterious illness that the doctor ruled natural causes. Yet Paris green remained fashionable until 1879, when a visiting foreign dignitary informed the Queen that he had gotten sick overnight, and attributed it to the green wallpaper surrounding his bed. The Queen immediately ordered the removal of all green wallpaper from the palace, and when word got out, it initiated a panic throughout the kingdom. Finally convinced, the people sought to eradicate arsenic from their daily lives, but kept finding more. Even when the labels changed and arsenic was removed, it was later found out that the manufacturers hadn't actually changed their formulas, and the public fear and outrage would be renewed. But why does fear of this particular color persist even today? After all, white paint contained lead and yellow used chlorine, but fear of those colors aren't ingrained in our psyches. Well, in the early 20th century, Paris green was still produced and used, but as insecticide and rat poisoning. Early cartoons reflect this, and over time green has become the culturally recognized color for poison, subconsciously associated with sickness, evil, death, witches, and all of the other bad things. Across pop culture, it often represents sly, cunning, duplicitous characters, possibly because of the underhanded nature of poisoning. Virtually every Disney movie has a green villain moment, and almost every Disney villain uses lies and trickery whilst plotting against the hero. Now, I'm not trying to convince you that green Victorian dresses are directly responsible for the puke emoji, but there is a clear and tangible connection through time. Well, I had a lot of fun with this one. It started out, oh, look at the pretty green dresses, and then it slowly morphed into research on the psychology behind the color green. So yeah, now you can never not notice it again.